Alright, hey everybody, my name is March, and today I'm going to be running for you Micro Machines on the Sega Genesis. It's kind of a long run, so let's get right into it in 3, 2, 1, go! So we are picking Spider because he is the fastest of the bunch, which is, why would we ever pick anybody else? I don't know, unless you want to do a meme run, which is a thing. But yeah, we're going to be doing basically a new category. So essentially a new glitch was discovered by myself, I might add, that completely changed the game to the point where we added a new category that excludes this glitch, and then the any percent glitch now, any percent category now includes this glitch. So basically, the way this game works, it's a top-down racing game, obviously, based on the toy franchise. As you can see, the checkpoint system is pretty lax. So basically, the way the checkpoints work in this game is that the whole track is lined with these fairly large checkpoints. They're the size of about 4 of these checkers on the checkerboard pattern here. And we're going to have some legal... Basically, when you hit one checkpoint, you're cleared pretty far ahead to the next checkpoint. Obviously, the idea was that they wanted to give players a lot of freedom, so you didn't have to adhere too closely to the track. But obviously, in the speedrun context, we were going to push that as far as we can. And in this category, we're going to push it even farther with this ultra shortcut glitch. So this is really fun. You can see my lap counter just went down. So what we did there, it takes some explaining, and I've kind of been struggling with the best way to explain it. But essentially, and the race is over. Essentially, it's much faster than you should be able to do it, if that wasn't apparent. Essentially, this glitch requires 3 checkpoints. It requires a legal checkpoint, which is just any old regular checkpoint. It requires an obstacle checkpoint, and it requires the halfway point checkpoint. So basically what we're doing is we're touching a legal checkpoint, which is the one in front of this oil slick. The oil slick is an obstacle checkpoint, and so obstacles will still update our progress, but they will not let us respawn. So you'll never respawn on a checkpoint that has an obstacle on it, which makes sense. They don't want you respawning on top of an oil slick or a glue patch or anything weird like that. And so basically, I don't know the full extent of exactly why it happens, but the glitch is related to the fact that that there's this kind of offset between where your progress is and where your respawn position is. So yeah, I ran this game for quite a while on the regular non-ultra shortcut version, and then one day in early March, I was just kind of messing around, and I was like, wait, hold on, my lap counter just went down. I don't know why. Spent the rest of the day playing around and trying to figure out how to replicate it, which I have to say was kind of a pretty surreal experience, getting to first-hand break a game like this. It became apparent very quickly that it was going to need its own category, and I think by the end of the day I found ultra shortcuts on like 17 of the tracks. There's 29 in total. Right now there are 19 tracks with ultra shortcuts in them. So most of the game right now has ultra shortcuts like this. The only bummer is that the ones that don't have ultra shortcuts are also some of the more boring levels. But we'll address that here pretty shortly. But yeah, so some of these are a bit more straightforward, where I have to basically I just have to leave the touch the oh, that was completely wrong. I got way far afield there. Ooh, shoot. So I have to touch that checkpoint, then that checkpoint, and then go off-road till the halfway point. And I got a little... Sometimes you get... So, a very real challenge of this run is that when you're off the course, everything looks the same. So it can be very difficult sometimes to know where you are, which is really frustrating. So this is basically the first lap, the first race that does not have ultra shortcuts. The first two technically didn't, but they're so short that they don't really count. And the main reason why none of these, well, the first two of these pool levels, there's 3 in total, you spend so much time on the side of the of the pool table like this that the halfway point checkpoint is basically always on that border, and there's no way to go. So we're gonna do a cheeky little shortcut here. I don't think I went far enough. No, I did not. Let's do it normal for this lap. So basically there's no way to get onto these railings from below except from these cards. So there's just no way to get to the halfway point checkpoint without touching any other checkpoints. So I've spent a good amount of time on both this pool level and the second one trying to find ultra shortcuts, and for now I can't find them, but I will not stop looking for probably ever. So as you can see, we're abusing the general looseness of the checkpoints to go off. Oops, went a little too far. So there's also these hidden kill planes on this level, which is great. But we can kind of double back there because we touch a required checkpoint, but we don't actually have to go around that whole turn. That's one of the more recent shortcuts that I discovered. So yeah, a little bit of history of this game as a speedrun game. It does have a rather small but fun community. When I joined the speedrunning scene for it, basically there was only one person who was like really aiming to break the game. Like most people were basically just kind of playing it as intended, and they did very well at that, I want to add. They were definitely very good at that, but when I started playing, I was like, I want to break this game. I want to push it to its limit. And so initially, before all these shortcuts were found, I spent a lot of time really pushing to see just how far you can cut all these corners, and which was a lot of fun. And as it turned out, there was actually another runner on the Nintendo version of the game. Shoutouts to Mick Saitan, who also had done a lot of the same work, but it was actually ended up being a good thing that I didn't know that, because I ended up finding a lot of things that they hadn't found. And I think that if I had just kind of gone off their work, I might have just kind of assumed that was what there was to find in the game, but it just goes to show it always pays to, never assume that everything's been found. So this was actually where I discovered the ultra shortcut glitch. As you can see, it's quite close. I don't even know what I was doing when I discovered it, but mostly just kind of fooling around off screen, seeing what I could get done. And yeah, now we're on to the first of the water levels. So the water level is pretty straightforward. Because of all these bubbles, we can't really get out of bounds. We kind of can, but not in a way that lets us really bypass the checkpoints to do an ultra shortcut. But we do have this, which I call the bubble railgun. You can kind of squeeze in there between the tube and the bubbles, and that's actually something that's unique to the Genesis version. So this is on pretty much every classic platform: Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and Master System. And I believe this is the only version where this, I guess you could call it a glitch, but I don't really think of it as a glitch. It's more of a you just really get shot out by those bubbles at top speed. Which is something that I did know about as a kid, but don't think I knew how to get so much speed doing it. Whoa, come on now. Okay, well that should have been a lot faster, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter on the last lap because the finish line is right there anyways, so yeah. Now on this level, we are gonna take it slightly slower than we could. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this obstacle. We're gonna just kind of go straight over and then straight down. So obviously it would be a little bit faster if we kind of triangulated this. But because of the because it's so hard to tell where you are when you're off when you're off-road, I find it much easier just to simply line up with that dune and then go straight south and hit the checkpoint. Easy peasy. So now we're on to the last of the bonus levels. So we get these bonus levels every three wins. The saving grace is that on the Genesis version there are only 3 bonus rounds. On the Nintendo version, you keep doing them until you have 9 lives. So we need to come up here like this. This one is really tricky. You have to make sure that I did not touch the respawn checkpoint after I crossed it, which can be... Whoa, that's another thing that can happen. So I need to come up here, touch this obstacle, come off the obstacle. We should still be good, but let's... obviously we did not. So this grass, this hedge is bouncy, and I took a weird bounce off of it, unfortunately. And that'll do it. Okay. And now on to my least favorite levels, which are the helicopter levels. We do have 3 of these. There's no going out of bounds. The physics are pretty much boring. So there's a rumor that that when they made the helicopter levels, they gave them the default handling with the intention to come back later and give them more helicopter-y physics, and then they just forgot. And I'm inclined to believe that because the physics on these helicopters are just completely straightforward. There's no... You would think... Excuse me. You think they would have like drifting or, I don't know, maybe a little bouncy when you hit walls, things like that. But they're none of those things. They're about as straightforward as you could ask for. And the physics are different in the Game Boy version for the helicopters. Every version has slightly different mechanics. So it's kind of interesting in that regard. And there are some shortcuts that work in some versions that don't work in others, for no reason that we've been able to determine. Although I will say the Master System version, which is the only version that has a decompilation, and I'm not exactly sure why it has a decompilation. So here we just gotta go straight up from here. This one's super duper easy. But the Master System also has a completely different set of checkpointing rules. It's completely different the way it works. So I remember, I actually started when I was getting into running this. I just kind of took a glance at the decomp to see if there's anything that jumped out at me. I have some programming chops, but not no crazy like assembly sort of stuff. But I still glanced through it and I learned some stuff. But then I realized none of it actually applied to the Genesis version. It all only applied to the Master System version. So here we're gonna go above that drain. So the drain will ruin your day if you get caught in it. Normally I take it a little bit slower by going wide and around it, but this one you have so much time to line up for it properly that I like to just go for it and go above it. So you have quite a bit of time. You just have to make sure that you're basically as far right as you can be. So the way this game handles, it does handle, you only ever press left and right, and it handles as though you're sitting in the vehicle. So if the vehicle is coming, it's chasing downwards in this, and pressing right turns left, pressing left turns right, so on and so forth. As a lot of like top-down racing games work. And there I, for some reason, chickened out and took it wide, but that's fine. I do have the world record for this category. I'm actually the only entrant for this particular category since Ultra Shortcuts were found. But I also am the world record holder for the non-USC version as well. So here we are in the tank levels. So the tank levels are pretty important because the tanks do move pretty slowly. So if you make a mistake in the tank level, that can really cost you a ton of time. And not only that, but we have our buddies firing basically at random. But as you can see, we can kind of rip on through this. It's also worth knowing, I do actually have a bunch of maps. They are ripped, so online there are map resources that were ripped from, again, from the Master System. I think someone just really liked the Master System and version of it and just went crazy on it. Because there's so many resources for the Master System and basically no speedruns of it, so I guess not all retro gaming stuff involves speedruns, but it's still kind of funny to me. What am I trying to say? Oh yeah, so I do have these maps. I do have them. I have basically notes written all over them for routes. Basically, I have my routes recorded both for this category and for the no USC category, the no ultra shortcut category. And I have the map. I have the base maps up on SRC. I've been meaning to post my routes up there. They're kind of a mess, but they get the job done for the most part. So whoa, okay. For some reason that turn noise comes up quick on me. So this is one that I'm kind of desperate to find ultra shortcuts on. It's a very straightforward race, and there's just so much weirdness in these pool levels. These pockets have really weird physics, which in the last pool level I'm able to abuse both in the well, I abused the whole physics in the non-USC version of the race, and the last one does have ultra shortcuts in general. So I know that they can be done on pool levels. I really want to find it on this one, but I just haven't been able to, and I've spent a lot of time on it too. So I won't be shocked if someone finds it someday, but for now I've kind of given up hope for the most part. But these races are fun. They're fast. I could be cutting these corners a bit steeper than I am. The main reason why I'm not is because the pool levels are also notorious for having a lot of kill squares, just kind of randomly off the track. It's kind of the only track that has that. Almost, I think all the other tracks, like you're free to explore off track as much as you like. It's just that once you try to come back onto the track, if it doesn't like where you are, it will explode you. Or even better, it might. Sorry, we're fixing something there. It might also increment your lap. So this is one of the more crazier ones that I found. This was probably the last one that I found. So I had to leave the track there. I had to come back and touch that ink spot, and now we have to navigate off road here. We have to cross just this bridge without touching any of the track. Then we have to come down all here again, not touching any of the track, and come right into there, and that's our USC. As you can see, I would never have found this like accidentally. Only by understanding how this glitch worked was I able to work out how to do it on levels like this. Oops. Still not as fast as I could be at navigating off-road. It is scary. these cars are very slippery, which is a lot of fun. But when you're trying to not to accidentally go off, touch the track, and the track, you know, it does stick out farther than it looks usually. The checkpoints, the hidden checkpoints are actually a bit wider than the track is for the most part. So it's a little, like if I was to go too far to the right here and touch the track on the right that you see there, like the run would be over basically. So I really need to make sure that doesn't happen. Because if I was to do that, it would increment my lap counter. Basically, like if you try to cut too far ahead, the game thinks that you're not actually cutting ahead, that you're backtracking. And if it thinks that you've backtracked past the finish line, it will increment your lap counter, which is a run killer, obviously. Because you can't just kind of go back, and there's no take backsies when that happens, basically. And we're kind of running on the cusp of that when we do these. Like if I need to specifically hit the checkpoint, where if I'm one checkpoint early, sorry, this one is a little crazy also. If I'm one checkpoint early, we explode. If I'm one checkpoint late, I'm sorry, if I'm early, we explode and we don't get the lap. If I'm late, we get our lap counter incremented. So if I'm at 2 now and I'm late, I'll be at 3, and I just have to complete the rest of that lap. So it's an instant dead run. This is one of the nastier ones because it's just so disorienting being off course. Like I kind of have a general sense of where these pools are, but I don't have a great. I need to back up here because I think a opponent card knocks me into the next checkpoint, so I had to back up a little bit there, or might not have worked. So definitely, if I ever revisit this, one thing I would do is like really try to speed up this level and a few of these other levels. But another thing that's nice about this game, all of the menuing is bufferable, so you can basically just hold the start button down, and all of the picking racers, going through the different race screens, all that, you just hold the button. Oops. You just hold the button down, and you will get frame perfect every time, which is great because I'm not a huge menuing fan, and it's nice not having to mash the start button between levels or anything like that, like you might in some other games. So this is the second helicopter level. This is definitely the hardest of the 3, which is always kind of funny to me that the third one is considerably easier than this one. This is definitely the twistiest of the bunch. I could go on the inside of that water spout. It will kill you if you touch it. I could go on the inside of it and maybe save like 1/10 of a second or something, perhaps. Maybe. Geez, I'm just bouncing off everything. Something that I always have to remember, especially when I'm doing the ultra shortcut version, is that even though these levels are like tech-wise, they don't really have anything interesting to them. Like you could always do them faster. Like you can always cut these corners a little bit sharper. You can always be a little bit more precise in pretty much everything. So I do need to, especially when I'm like really pushing this game and doing runs of it, I really need to like focus myself on these levels a little bit more. But yeah. You know, I think I left some thought half finished, but now I don't recall what it was earlier. So I apologize if there's anyone in the chat like you started to say this and then you trailed off. So I apologize if I did that. I'm trying to think of what it might have been though. This game's a lot of fun. I will say that I really enjoy the ultra shortcut version from a like it's just fun to break games. In terms of like long-term watchability though, like and playability, this particular run can get a little once the novelty of breaking all these levels wears off a little, it gets a little dry. But the non-USC version I think is still my favorite category, just from a pure mechanics fun, you know, in terms of pure fun factor. I think the non-USC version is a lot of fun too. There's a lot of cool tricks, cool routes and stuff that obviously I don't get a chance to show off because we just kind of skipped the whole level. But yeah, the day when I was learning this, it felt like a fever dream. Like, I don't know if you ever like had a weird like dream about a game you were playing a lot that you were suddenly able to, you know, just completely break it. It was like, is this a dream? Is this real? Is this actually happening? Am I actually breaking the game like this? But it is real, and I was. And it was kind of funny because as I was discovering more and more levels, it was kind of like, oh, this is clearly gonna need its own category. Like, it was kind of disappointing because I would find it on levels that I didn't like. I was like, oh yeah, great. Now we don't have to deal with this level anymore. And then it was like, well, okay, I am lost. Hold up. Where am I? I think I know where I am. What? I actually don't know why I exploded just then. Yeah, I even have a map up and I still get lost. It's just how disorienting this, Okay, this is what I was looking for, is this Legos right here, and then hit that checkpoint. Yeah, it just goes to show how disorienting it can be off-road. Like, I try to, like, keep a mental map of where all these, like, little, like, marbles are, because all these, like, sets of marbles look the same, too, so it's not like you can be like, oh, the cat's eye marble I'm going to turn right at, and then the, you know, I don't know, another name of a marble I'm going to turn left at. They're all the same. So if you don't have it completely locked, it's really easy to get disoriented like that. So this level is interesting because, as far as I'm aware, it's a Genesis exclusive. So normally, every car type has 3 levels, with 2 exceptions. There's the starting boat level, which is the qualifying race. It's just a simple oval. We just flew right off the truck. That's great. And after you beat all the levels, there is one more car level, the qualifying level, or not qualifying, championship level. Whoa, you jerk! I like just barely saved it, and then he had to come by and knock me off. Oh man, what a punk. So the championship race, for some reason, in all the other versions, is just instead of this race, you just do the championship race. So you do it twice, once now and then once at the very end of the game. I don't know why they did it that way, but we just have to come up like that. So yeah, this one along with the last car level was just very improbable to exist. As you can see, I have to come all the way up here, just barely sneak in through past this this track. We have to cross over without touching the track. I have to bounce off that chalk. If I bounce off that pencil instead, it'll fly off it'll ricochet too far and I'll fly off the course. And if any of this was just barely not in the position that is, it just straight up wouldn't be possible. It's kind of crazy how many things had to align, both for this car one and the last car one, the last school coupe one. Like, they're both just like, if things were just slightly different, if the track was just one tile longer here or there, it wouldn't work. So it's kind of fun. I always like that sort of thing. Alright, so now we're on to the last of the boat levels. So the fun thing about the boat levels, I've already mentioned the bubble railgun. So the second boat level had no bubble railgun. This one does have one. It's not nearly as fun as the first one. As you'll see, it doesn't send us nearly as far. You can, so there's 2 tubes here. You can clip through the first one, but I just haven't been able to find any real benefit from it. But that one gives us a nice little speed boost, which is very satisfying to pull that off, by the way. Unfortunately, because it does slow you down before it boosts you up a little bit, and the finish line is right there, so I'm pretty sure it's not worth doing on the last lap, just because you don't get to take full advantage of the speed boost that it gives you, and the slowing down ends up not meaning it's not worth it on the last lap. But and there's a lot of real crazy stuff you can do in this level. Just nothing that I found that can actually help in a speed sense. Like you can get all the way out of bounds and into basically like Mario 64-esque parallel universes and just all sorts of weird junk data and it's really cool, but I haven't been able to find any kind of speed related tech with it. Like I was really hoping to like get out of bounds and find like a junk finish line or something like that, and just like maybe you can just hit that 3 times and be done with the level, but nah, I can't find anything like that. See all this menu and I'm just holding down the start button, which is it's just very nice. I wish more games had done that. I don't like having to match. I don't like having to mash buttons. Kind of in general, I don't like having to mash buttons. It's not good for the for speedrunners to have to mash needlessly. We get enough wear and tear on our ligaments as it is. So this is the last of the helicopter levels. As I mentioned before, this is considerably easier than the previous one. What's also funny to me is that they actually made it easier still than the Nintendo version, which did come out first. The Nintendo version has, so you know how we have these air conditioners that kind of try to blow us off course. Oops, what am I actually doing right now? The air conditioners that try to blow us off course. In the Nintendo version, there was 2 air conditioners, which whoop-de-doo. And there was also a snail object that you could run into that for some reason they took out of the Genesis version. I do not know why they removed it. And there's a lot of very little unexplainable things about this game, about the development of it. Just weird differences between the different versions of it, even though they all, for the most part, they almost all use like nearly identical assets. The track layouts are all identical. Even like if you go off road, like where there is just random obstacles are all the same, even if like some of them might be different colors or slightly different. It's such a strange thing. Now we're on to the last pool table level. This is one of the harder levels in the game. It's hard in the non-USC version also, but this one is tricky. We need to get through here without getting bonked too bad. I don't think that worked. I'm gonna go through again. Because if I got pushed into the next checkpoint, that won't work. And now we're going to basically do a slalom with these blue balls. See, I went just a bit too far there, so we didn't get the lap. I need to back up, make sure I'm hitting this checkpoint, and make sure I sneak out of here without hitting the further checkpoint. So yeah, slalom with the blue balls. As that phrase is leaving my mouth, I'm noticing it's a little strange, but that's the way. So right side, left side, right side. Oh come on, and left side. One more. Right side, left side, right side, left side, and there we go. Alright, and now we are on to the second to last level, which is the last of the tank levels. So we need to sneak our way without getting shot. That's like kind of the main thing here, is to not get shot. So we're good there. We're gonna come up over this matchbox, and again, don't get shot. We need to go through these obstacles. Cannot touch the track on either side. If we do, that's like 5 minutes lost, so we really don't want to do that. We have to come all the way down here, and now we can finally collide with the checkpoint and get our lap. We just need to do that two more times, and then without making any mistakes. And then yeah, so I like to try to stay between the marbles. It just guarantees that we're not gonna accidentally touch the track, because again, if we touch it on either side, we're in deep trouble. And then also, I mean, we still have the AI driving around shooting randomly. I have definitely gotten clipped by a random bullet while doing this, which can kill your run, which is great because we're almost half an hour into our game time here. Not the funnest way to lose a run, I can tell you that from experience. Also, if we bonk too much against a single object, it will explode us and put us back to our respawn. But no problem, I never mess that up. And we're on to the final race. Alright, so we're going to start off with a cheeky little 360 or 180, I guess, to skip a little bit of the start there. This race is pretty fun. I like all of the coop levels, all the like schoolhouse tabletop levels. And then we got to go off course here. We need to come down here. So this is our obstacle checkpoint. We're going to sneak across this. Hope that we don't get hit by any of the... Almost got bonked by an AI car there. That would have been a disaster. And then come on down here, past this, and kaboom. And then we just need to do that 2 more times. Time will be at the end of the... well, I'll let you know. But basically, it's going to turn into a little flag. And that's when time will be after we do this 2 more times. So you can see how doing this quickly could be very challenging because we have to be very precise. These cards are very slidey, and you know we're half an hour into a speed run, and we really don't want to fall off. We don't want to get bonked. We don't want to touch a checkpoint that's incorrect. We don't want to fall off there either. And time is coming up, and time. Alrighty, well that was Micro Machines with the Ultra Shortcuts. It's the first time getting to show off Ultra Shortcuts in this game in a marathon, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. This game's a lot of fun. I like the Ultra Shortcut version, I like the non-Ultra Shortcut version. I think it has a woefully underrepresented speedrun community. If you feel like running this game, I highly encourage it. You can drop by the... we have a Discord, we have a speedrun page. I'm willing to share all of my maps. I'm willing to share all of my knowledge. And yeah, so I am March. Once again, you can find me at twitch.tv/March_TV. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 8 p.m. Central. Thank you so much to SegaCrew for having me on. This was a blast. Got to show off 3 different runs in this marathon. So much fun. Already looking forward to the next SEGATHON. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you very much, March. Up next, we're going to have Edward playing Rambo 3 and then Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. 2 absolutely amazing games. You're not going to want to miss that.